The twin suns of Vareth Prime hung low over the dueling arena, casting long shadows across the sand. The crowd was a storm of alien voices, sharp and metallic, echoing through the stone Colosseum. At its center stood a single human, barefoot, unarmored, bleeding from the lip, but still upright. His name was Captain Elias Ward, survivor of the Terran Frontier Wars, the last human prisoner of the KRYTH Dominion. He had been captured 2 months ago when his ship was ambushed beyond the Vareth Nebula. Since then, he'd been paraded, interrogated, and finally thrown into the arena for sport, pitted against creatures bred for slaughter. Across from him stood his opponent, a KRYTH war champion, armored in obsidian plates that shimmered like liquid glass. Her name, whispered in fear by the audience, was Commander Saren Kothel, a veteran of 100 victories, undefeated in single combat. Her claws glowed with plasma edge energy. To her, this was routine. To him, it was survival. "Human," she hissed, her voice amplified by her armor's speakers. "You may die quickly if you kneel." Elias wiped the blood from his mouth.
"Sorry.
Kneeling's not really my thing." The crowd howled in laughter at the arrogance of the naked creature standing before their champion. Saren lunged, fast, almost invisible. The sand erupted where she landed. Elias rolled aside, barely escaping as a plasma claw slashed past his face. Heat seared the air. His body screamed with fatigue, but his eyes stayed locked on her stance, her rhythm. He didn't have armor. He didn't have weapons. All he had was training. Muscle memory burned into him from years of close-quarters combat in gravity chambers and zero-G stations. She struck again. Elias pivoted, sidestepped, then drove his elbow into her gauntlet joint. The impact cracked metal. The crowd gasped. Saren stumbled back a step, disbelief flickering across her reptilian features. "Impossible," she growled. "Your bones should have shattered." "Human bones," Elias said between breaths, "tend to surprise people." High above the arena, the Dominion Overseer, a creature of translucent carapace and shimmering tendrils, observed from his throne. His advisors hissed in agitation. "The human lasts too long," one said. "The crowd might think him strong." The Overseer's gaze remained fixed on the sand below. "Let them watch," he replied softly. "If the myths are true, this may be worth more than blood." Back in the pit, the duel intensified. Saren attacked with fury now, her movements blurring into a storm of glowing strikes. Elias parried, dodged, redirected, each move precise, efficient, human. He fought not like an animal, but like someone who understood motion itself. Every muscle a weapon, every breath a calculation. Saren's claws clipped his shoulder, burning flesh. The pain was blinding, but Elias didn't falter. Instead, he stepped in close, too close for her plasma claws to arc fully, and drove his knee into the gap beneath her armor plating. The crack that followed was audible even over the roaring crowd. Saren staggered. For the first time in years, she bled. Her helmet's visor retracted, revealing silver eyes filled with disbelief. "You fight without weapons," she said, panting. "No shield, no armor. Why?" Elias wiped sweat from his brow. "Because I already lost everything worth protecting. The rest doesn't matter." The alien warrior hesitated. Something in his tone, something in his eyes, made her pause. The Overseer leaned forward, intrigued. "She falters," he murmured. "Fascinating." Saren attacked again, but slower now, uncertain. The human no longer looked like prey. He moved like a force of nature, fluid, adaptive, relentless. Every strike she made became an opening for him. Every counter taught him her rhythm. And then it happened. Elias caught her wrist mid-swing, twisted, and disarmed her in one motion. The plasma claws fell to the sand, still glowing. He didn't grab them. Instead, he kicked them away. He stood there, breathing hard, unarmed against an unarmed foe. The crowd fell silent. Saren looked down at her trembling claws, then at the human. "You could have killed me." "Yeah," he said. "But I didn't come here to kill anyone." Her eyes narrowed. "Then what did you come for?" To remind someone up there, he nodded toward the overseer's balcony. "That humans don't kneel, and we don't break." For a long moment, no one moved. The twin suns dipped lower, turning the arena floor to gold. Then the overseer rose. "Enough." His voice echoed through hidden speakers. "The duel is over." Saren turned, bowing slightly. "My lord, the human, has proven what we needed to see," the overseer interrupted. "Take him to the upper chambers. Do not harm him further." The crowd erupted in confusion, some cheering, some jeering. Guards descended, but Saren stepped between them and Elias. "He is under my honor," she declared. The overseer's tendrils shifted in approval. "As you wish, Commander." Hours later, in the quiet of the medical wing, Elias sat on a cot while a drone stitched the burn on his shoulder. Saren stood at the doorway, watching. "You should have killed me," she said again. "Maybe," he replied, wincing as the sutures tightened. "But I think you're smarter alive." She tilted her head. "You risked death to prove a point." Elias looked up at her. "To show that humans fight because we choose to, not because we're told to. That's something your people forgot." Saren's mandibles flexed in thought. "You believe freedom is worth pain?" He smiled faintly. "It's the only thing that is." She said nothing for a long time. Then she turned and deactivated the chamber's surveillance node with a flick of her claw. "If I release you," she whispered, "the overseer will have me executed." "Then don't release me," Elias said quietly. "Help me escape." Saren's eyes flickered again, this time with something that might have been respect. "There is a cargo vessel leaving for the outer moons tomorrow. I can arrange your transfer under prisoner transport code 47. Elias nodded. "And what about you?" She hesitated. "Perhaps. I am tired of winning meaningless battles." The escape wasn't clean. Nothing ever was. When the alarms blared the next morning, Elias and Saren were already halfway to the hangar. Dominion soldiers poured into the corridors. Plasma fire lit the walls. Elias grabbed a rifle from a fallen guard but used it only to block and deflect, striking with elbows and knees when necessary. Saren fought beside him, her claws slashing arcs of blue flame. When they reached the hangar, the overseer himself awaited them, suspended within his crystalline throne. "Commander Kothel," he said, voice like ice, "you betray your own kind for a human?" Saren stood tall. "For truth. He fights with nothing but his hands, yet he carries more honor than the whole Dominion." The overseer's glow darkened. "Then you will die with him." Energy flared, but Elias was faster. He hurled the rifle at the throne's control node. The resulting surge overloaded the levitation field. The overseer screamed as his throne crashed to the ground, shattering. "Go!" Elias shouted. They sprinted aboard the cargo vessel as explosions rippled through the hangar. Saren sealed the hatch and fired the thrusters. The ship tore free of the station, vanishing into the violet clouds of Veritha's upper atmosphere. Days passed in silence. The two fugitives drifted through the cold void, hiding among derelict satellites. Saren tended Elias's wounds with alien salves. He showed her how to bypass the ship's trackers.